Okay, good morning, friends. Today, the masterclass 21 is on understanding one important model in consumer behavior, that is Nicosia model. I welcome you all, my student friends who are joining me today. Let us now go in for detailed discussion of this particular model. It's a very short session, maybe half an hour or so. Let us go in for because there are a lot of models to be covered here. We take day one, day two, day three. We go on covering those important models. Nicosia model of consumer behavior is a very comprehensive guide for us to understand. It's a starting point to understand how psychological decision-making aspects of consumer behavior can be understood. Let's go in for some discussion here on this. So, as you know, and again a quick recap of what we have discussed earlier is we need to understand consumer behavior, right? What is consumer behavior? It is referred to the study of how individuals make decisions to spend their resources like time, money, and effort on consumption related items because they want to spend their resources. It is money, it is effort. Effort means they have to go to the market and put some effort to travel and examine the things there, and they will be spending their time also to go to the market. Say for example, if it's a mall, you have to go to a mall, it takes a lot of time for you to go in for mall and all. So they spend a lot of their resources to make some decisions, consumption related decisions. That is, they buy different types of products and services. So, how important is this study of consumer behavior for marketers? We have already seen the last session. Just a quick recap. It helps businesses to understand consumer preferences because we need to understand clearly how the consumers prefer and differ with regard to different types of products and services. And by understanding that, marketers can improve their marketing strategies. It can be product strategy, it can be price strategy, it can be distribution strategy, it can be advertising strategy as such. When you make an effort to improve your marketing strategies, there's every chance to enhance customer satisfaction. When you increase the customer satisfaction, enhance the customer satisfaction through your product or service, there is a chance for repeat buying. So that's the reason why we need to understand. So what are the consumer behavior models? Just we have a quick overview on that. Again, a quick recap of the last session. The types of models are economic models. The consumers make rational decision making, that they look at quality, price, etc. They are perfectly rational. They are not emotional at all. That is the economic model. Though that means you need to create what you call a clear perception in the mind of the consumers regarding the utility of the product, regarding the price, targeted price, the customer want, and all that. Next one is a psychological model. Here comes the role of perception, role of motivation, role of learning, etc. Because in psychological model there's an influence of person, how consumer perceives the products and how they select the information, they process the information and take decisions, interpret the information and take decisions, and how consumers get motivated, what are their motives here. And again, what is the concept of learning and learning theories? In the last session we have seen how learning, that means by virtue of past experience of learning, how do they behave in the process of making future purchases. And then it's a sociological model because we have already said earlier that consumer is a social being. Human being is a social being, as a matter of fact. You are surrounded by other societal groups. It can be family members or it can be friends, relatives, whatever you call it. And above all, there's a culture in which you will be living, and all these influences work. So when you look at that kind of a thing, impact, it is called sociological model. What is then is Nicosia model in detail? It's a dynamic model based on communication between consumers and the sellers. Communications between consumers and the firms. Let's try to dwell into the detailed analysis of the Nicosia model. This is developed by Francisco Nicosia in 1966. The focus of this particular model is how advertising and marketing communication influence consumer decisions. That means advertisement. How do you create an advertisement? How do you link with customers with a marketing communication strategy? This is something very interesting. So the key idea of this particular model is it's a cyclical process where firms influence consumers' attitudes, leading to decision making and feedback loops. That means you influence the consumers, they buy the products. Again, you get some information. Again, you inform the consumer through advertisement and all that. This is a feedback loop, meaning you need to understand clearly by asking consumers how do they frame their attitudes. Asking means you need to examine clearly. So the firms try to influence these consumer attitudes, leading to decision making. So let us examine the structure of this Nicosia model in detail. The model consists of four major stages, mind it. How Nicosia explains his theoretical proposition. First uh, stage is consumers' exposure to company message. This is very, very important. That means when you are crafting your advertisement messages, you need to understand how consumers get exposure to company's message, to whom you are going to talk to, how you are going to talk to, how you place your advertisements. Is it a print advertising? Is it a radio advertising? Or is it television advertising? Or do you use social media today? So that's called field one, consumers' exposure to company's message. The second field, consumer search and evaluation process. Now, when you try to influence the consumer through presenting company's information through company's message, then the second field you need to concentrate is consumer now searches the information clearly. That's the reason why you need to take proper care on designing clear cut information about the product or whatever. So consumer search and evaluation process goes on. Yes, consumer, when they are informed, you're not only one. There are number of other competitors selling their products. They take the case of cosmetics. Take the case of toothpaste, for example. So there are a number of marketers, companies advertise for their own products. What is their product superiority? This is competitive advertising, what we call it. So the field two is consumers search and evaluation process. They go in for searching the product information, and they evaluate which product is what and all that. What are the features here? X brand, Y brand, Z brand. Third field is they take a decision to buy. This is called purchase decision. So the consumers will not stop there. The field four, what Nicosia model explains, post-purchase experience and feedback. They now evaluate whether the product is satisfying their wants, desires, etc. Is it going good? Is the product working well, good, or it's not good enough? There can be either positive experience or a negative experience as such, and that's the feedback that the marketers will get again. So there are four phases here. First phase, consumer exposure to information. Second phase, consumer search and evaluation process. Third phase, that's third field, is purchase decision, going to the market and buy the product. And fourth field is post-purchase evaluation and feedback. Let us go in for detailed discussion with some sort of examples here of Nicosia model field-wise. Field one, the company's communication and consumer attitude formation. That means the firm sends a marketing message through advertisements, through social media advertisements, and through promotions like exhibitions, whatever you call it, or window display in malls and retail outlets. So the consumer's pre-existing attitude determines whether they accept or reject the message. See, we have already seen how attitude formation and all. So you try to form a positive attitude in the mind of the consumers about your product with the help of advertisement message. So the consumer's pre-existing attitude determines whether the consumer accept your product or reject your product. Message itself, reject, accept your message to be read, or reject your message to be viewed, or whatever it is. Simply, they don't feel convenient to read the message, to listen to your advertisement or whatever it is. For, for example, a company launches a television advertisement for a new eco-friendly detergent, environment-friendly detergent. If the consumer already supports sustainability, they may show interest. If the consumers do not support sustainability, they don't have any interest at all. Because what your selling point is eco-friendly product, meaning those who are very much in tune with sustainability and all that, they prefer the advertisement. They look into that advertisement. Yes, of course, this is the company which is caring for sustainability. Let me look at. So that encourages, because they are having already an attitude towards supporting sustainability. Any advertisement which supports the sustainability attempts will be definitely will be there, entering into the mind of the consumers as such. So that's funny, very very important. This is called companies communication and consumer attitude formation. Second field. Now consumers start searching and evaluation. Suppose, for example, if the consumer is interested in that particular product claim or product message, they start seeking more information about the product. They search for advertisement. They look into television advertising. They wherever they go to the market, they inquire in the market about what is this product, what is that product that's being advertised and all. So there will be a consumer search process goes on, and the evaluation also. There are two activities here. Information search. They go for reviews, they go for website reviews, they go for social media advertisements and all that. They start comparing X product with Y product and all that with alternatives, etc., etc. So one is information search, and second one is comparison. This is the second field, consumer search and evaluation. For example, a consumer looks up an online review and companies eco-friendly detergents with other brands. Now, what happens if the consumer is interested in eco-friendly detergent? Then they compare other whether there are any other detergent marketers, detergent makers who are with eco-friendly approach, sustainability approach, or whatever. Then the consumer looks up online reviews and compares eco-friendly detergents with other brands and take a decision. Because what we said is consumer search one and then evaluation process two. That is field two. What is field three? Now it is taking a positive step towards purchase of a product. This is called purchase decision. Now, here comes whether the consumer can take. Of course, if they have a positive attitude, they buy. If they have a negative attitude, they reject. So the consumer either buys or rejects the product based on some evaluation of their own criteria. Now, influencing factors here. Yes, price, quality, other social influencing factors, and the brand image that the product are already enjoying. So they refer to what in taking a purchase decision. Influencing factors include what is the price when compared to that of other competitors, what is the quality specification when compared to that of other competitors, and social influence, like how many number of people accepting. Because once you go to the website and social media reviews, and people are buying this detergent more and more, so that kind of social influence work well. Suppose your review is negative, no, this product will not stand in the market, something like that, you reject the product. So your social influence also count there. And then of course is the brand image. What is that supremacy that the brand is enjoying the market already? Say for example, consumer decides to buy the detergent because a good online ratings are there, an attractive discount that is being offered, and a very good brand image that is there. So then the consumer is motivated to take a decision to buy the product and go for buying. And next, field 4. This is post purchase experience and feedback, because what happens here is we want the consumers to go for repeat buying. But whether they buy it repeatedly or not depends upon the post purchase experience. So after using the product, the consumer forms an opinion, either satisfaction or dissatisfaction. Satisfaction means repeat buying. Dissatisfaction means one time buying and stop. And he becomes a mouthpiece for that particular brand by saying, no, no, this product is useless and this product is not good enough and all that. If the satisfied customer is there, yes, what the thousand of satisfied customers, word of mouth, definitely it goes. So the feedback loop here is experience influences future purchases and brand loyalty. That's why it is a feedback loop. Buying, experience positive, buying again. Buying negative, experience negative, don't buy. That's it. Example, if the detergent works well and the consumer gets satisfaction, the consumer may go in for repurchase and recommend it to others normally. So with this four stage model of Nicosia, what are the strengths of this particular model? Why it is being discussed as a model? First important strength is it explains how advertising influences consumer behavior. Please note, advertising is all about a pre-sale effort. You're not selling the product, but you're selling the product information first. Let it go to the consumer's mind. You're planting a product message in the consumer's mind. It can be through radio advertising, it can be through print advertising, it can be through television advertising, it can be through social media advertising, it can be through outdoor advertising and whatever. Putting banners and billboards in big cities, like in street corners, whatever, like that. It can be any medium. Okay, so the strength of the model here is it explains how advertising influences consumer behavior. Pre-sale effort minded. So you need to identify the vacant space in the consumer's mind and sit on it conveniently with your product message. Please note that there are n number of challenges because you are not only one advertiser. There are multiple companies competing with you. For example, take the detergent, for example. There are n number brands available today. So all will be, advertising. So yours should be a very well-designed, impact-making advertisement campaign, information that goes and sits in the consumer's mind. So that can help you to increase the sale. That is the first advantage, strength. Second is it focuses on attitude formation. We have already seen how attitudes are formed, a lot of learning and all that. Now here, when you advertise clearly and compared to that of other advertisers, definitely there will be a marked change in the decision making of the consumers, and there will be an attitude formed in their mind positive towards your product or service. So this Nicosia model also focuses on attitude formation, how attitude gets formed through a well-planned design and planted advertisement campaign in the consumers' minds. The third is it highlights the feedback loop of business to improve marketing. Because please note here, there can be after purchase, post purchase experience can be positive. If it is positive, again, it reinforces sales and increase sales. If it is negative experience the consumers have on the product use, then it also reinforces your negative sales. That means your sales will dip. So there are three strengths Nicosia model talks about. One is how advertising influences consumer behavior, and number two is it focuses on attitude formation and change in decision making, and three, it highlights the feedback loop for business to improve marketing. So what are the limitations of this model? See, all is not good enough when we talk about different models as such. What are the limitations of this, negatives? It assumes consumers are highly rational. Please note here, this is a limitation because any human beings are partly rational and partly emotional. Highly rational consumers mean that they look at product quality and price only. No, they will always be guided by emotions also. Most of the time, we are guided by emotions. We are not rational when we are buying different types of products, like, say, perfumes, for example, or cars, for example, consumer durables, for example. So sometimes we are partly emotional. So that is the limitation. Nicosia model always assumes the consumers are highly rational. They look at product price and quality and all that, and we can guide them through product price and quality. No. Third, it does not account for impulse buying. Yes. Nicosia model always says that the product information is to be very clearly said, and after evaluating the product information, consumers are perfectly rational and go and buy. No, there is lot of impulse buying, sudden buying, buying without any need at all. That's called impulse buying. You buy a product suddenly when you go to the mall. For example, you walk into the IKEA store and suddenly you say you buy a product. It can be a flower vase, for example, or it can be a furniture and good looking furniture. You may not need it at the given point of time, but you feel it that it's a good thing in your house. This is called impulse buying. Not driven by your desire, but it is driven by your emotions. Nicosia model do not take into consideration this impulse buying. That's the limitation again. Customers also go in for impulse buying. So this model will not consider that kind of a phenomenon. Third is limited real world application as consumers' behavior is more complex. See, this model talks about rationality. That's it. No. Consumer behavior is very, very complex. We don't know what happens, how the consumer buys. We have seen in the last sessions when we talk about determinants of consumer behavior. It's not a consumers are not always rational minded. They are emotional. They take mental excursions when they see a product. They feel something else here. When look at the product advertisement, something like that. So the Nicosia model takes a very simple point of view on consumer behavior, that the assumption consumers are highly rational. That is not always true because consumers' behavior is more complex. That's the limitation. So with this, we close. It's a very short session, I already told you. This is very important for us to consider the different models in operation. Nicosia model. There are other models as well. In due course of discussion, we will be taking up